Okay, if only we could make this playthrough of Kingdom Hearts even more confusing. Here we are to watch 358 Days Over 2, the movie. We didn't do this initially in the order, because you're supposed to do this before Birth by Sleep.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This came out before Birth by Sleep. You're supposed to have played this and watched this before. I mean, it really doesn't matter because it doesn't affect Birth by Sleep that much. We didn't do that specifically because I thought, I don't particularly like the movie for Days. It's not my favorite. I mean, it's not terrible, but I feel that it does not fully represent the product.
Right.
Because it just cuts a lot of stuff out. It cuts out a lot of this game is just this slow build and just the friendship between the key characters.
Yeah. And so I've gotten to experience some of that.
Yes. So that was the idea. Was I handed you my copy and said, you go ahead and play this instead. And anybody who's watching us linearly on YouTube, they can go find another playthrough of it, or they can play it themselves. Sorry, guys. But as it turns out, Joey has not had time to finish 358 Days Over 2, because that is how you're supposed to pronounce it.
3-5. Wait, not 358.
Well, you can say 358. I guess that's fine. But the point is, the key thing is that it's 358 days over 2. You know, it's not 358 over 2 days. It's very, very big difference there.
Okay.
Because you see, the 358, they're days. That's the unit, which is being divided by 2.
So it's not over 2 days.
Exactly, it's correct. There's 358 days being divided by 2, you imbecile. Isn't it obvious to you?
Is Kingdom Hearts 3 just going to be called Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yes, it is. So far, it's just called Kingdom Hearts 3.
Honestly.
I'm hoping for a Final Fantasy 15 style. You know how at the ending of Final Fantasy 15 they changed the key art? I'm hoping, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, the title comes up and a subtitle appears. That's what I'm hoping for. But anyway, so Joey, you've played I want to say a little bit less than half of Days last time I talked with you, but at this point, there's not enough. We gotta get going on and just go ahead and watch this movie here. And whatever that means, we get to make a video of it for the people who wanted to see us watch it.
Sure, why not? So this movie was put out for the people that didn't play the DS game. It's just like, hey, get caught up in this very long game. Yeah,
well, it's essentially because the PSP entry of Birth by Sleep still looked good enough, and I guess probably ran on similar enough software. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but whatever. Not how to pronounce it. I don't know how to put it. Porting that to this wasn't too much of a hassle, right?
Gotcha.
I've also just realized that I think our settings are screwed up, so I'll fix that on the main menu, but whatever. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, point being that getting this game, which was on the Nintendo DS and had 2 screens and the graphics were all original Nintendo DS-y, I think they were concerned that would take a little bit too much effort. Even if they didn't up-res the graphics or whatever, just to get it running on a PlayStation 3 might have been a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So ultimately they decided to instead just go ahead and adapt some of the cutscenes and put them on here. This game also has, you've already heard it obviously since you've played it on DS, but this has some people's favorite rendition. I mean, I don't know, everybody has a different favorite rendition of Dearly Beloved, but the kind of somber, distant flute of
It's pretty good.
Of Days is pretty good, yeah. So I don't know what's under extras. Probably nothing because I haven't even booted this. Roxas's Diary. Wait, is it all readable right now? I haven't even played this yet. It's all just here.
Okay.
Okay, sure, that's fine.
Great. I mean, this is just a movie, yeah? So.
Well, essentially, in order to make sure that the bases of the plot are covered, all of the report stuff is still in here. So in addition to Roxas's report, the secret reports and some other stuff that should be readable within the game is contained within here. I just thought, I guess Roxas's Diary is all available from the beginning, and you only unlock the other stuff.
Just skip to the last page of his diary.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I guess it allows us to skip to whichever parts we want to. And then, yeah, that little report thing next to it, the little document next to it, probably means that if we watch that, we unlock one of the other documents.
Okay.
Would be my guess. Anyway. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much to say about this. We're just gonna sit here and we're gonna watch this movie.
All right, may as well.
Yeah, we're not gonna. There's not really gonna be a ton to talk about other than just what's happening on the screen, probably.
Mindlessly collecting hearts. The rage of the Keyblade releases those hearts.
This is basically a movie, so there's not going to be like any copyright shenanigans, is there?
Well, Sanctuary is going to play in a second here, so.
Uh-oh.
Until they weave together.
Yeah, but this also, some people may or may not remember, this is dialogue from This is not only dialogue from Kingdom Hearts 2, this is a scene from Kingdom Hearts 2. So that was dialogue of Saïx kind of explaining their motivation to Sora in KH2. And in that sweeping shot of the camera panning around all of them was when Roxas is regaining his memories of being in the organization. Because you noticed it was the scene where all of the KH2 members have their hoods up, right?
Yeah.
Because you remember it only showed the Chain of Memories members. It was still trying to keep it secretive from us.
If there is something in there,
And this is also from the Final Mix version of KH2.
then we'd feel it, wouldn't we?
Wait, the song playing?
No, this
Or the
scene.
scene.
This
Oh.
is the little scene when after Roxas reassimilates with Sora after Axel has died.
Yeah.
Where they kind of talk for a few moments.
Yeah, in the spirit world. And
Yeah.
that's a hard cut.
Yeah. This whole game is a bit of an interesting concept. And you're gonna I forget exactly. Okay, yeah. It doesn't cut
no,
like
hang
this.
on. You have to specify the DS game or this thing that we are experiencing.
The
at this
DS
moment.
game, not so much the movie. I get the movie. I get the motivation behind it. Economically, it would have been really hard to make another freaking game ported into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, so look at what's happening here, right? We're seeing each of these members, right? Warrior, a tactician, harnesses. Harnesses the wind, right? It was over there
I'm
in
gonna
the
be
corner.
completely honest.
Yeah.
At first, I saw credits, so then I started ignoring all of these
Domain
words.
over the power of ice, brilliant, chilly academic. Okay, so what's happening right here is a little bit interesting, where each of these characters has like a code name, right? This one was it was the I thought it was like the silent hero or something like that. Maybe I'm mistaken on what his was. Wields shadows and illusions, and his is cloaked schemer. I remembered that one. So we're getting like a brief description of what each of these characters' powers is and what they do, and then their code name, right? Luna Diviner.
Yeah.
Some of these are really funny to me, like the Zigbar one, the gunman with the eye patch.
Yeah.
His was skilled at recon, assassin with his own motives. The flurry of dancing flames for Axel. You've seen this when you were playing the game, obviously.
Yeah.
But and this was split up across 2 screens as well during the intro there. But the reason that I say this is interesting,
controls time. Excuse me.
his power is over time, but it doesn't mean anything. It's completely
I was gonna
useless.
say that's the strongest ability in the world. Like stop time and get Zigbar's gun and shoot Sora in the back of the head.
If you'll recall, the only way that he used time in Kingdom Hearts 2 was during his boss fight. He said the first to run out of time is the loser, and basically just each character had a health bar that drained over time that could also be drained by hitting them. No, it's his power is totally useless.
Great.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he can do more stuff, and he just wasn't messing around. He was messing around in KH2, and then maybe we'll see more in this game. We'll get to see more exciting time powers in this game.
I bet.
Well, see, that's that. When I was trying to say that this is interesting, that's what I was kind of trying to get to, was that across Chain of Memories in KH2, we introduce all of these OCs, right? Zigbar, Axel, Demnix, Marluxia, Luxord, whoever else, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is that most of them don't get much to do. Now, we get a bit more time.
Hang on, I just want to reiterate how stupid this is to me. I hate this so much.
What,
Where's the X? Where's the X? I know it's coming.
There you go.
Oh
It's done.
man, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. All right, but go
Awakened in the flickering light of dusk, the key of destiny, Roxas number 13. What I was going to say is that you have in those games, right, the introduction of, and these are also Kingdom Hearts 2, and this is actually not Chain of Memories. This is all Kingdom Hearts 2 stuff, I'm pretty sure. Or was this added into
Maybe
this
in
game?
Kingdom Hearts 3
remember.
it'll have the tech to actually take bites out of the ice cream.
So what they're showing here is supposed to be like, basically Xemnas was like, hey, come join our club, and Roxas, who was just born, was like, no thanks. And then he just kind of bounces to walk around, and then Xemnas, for whatever reason, sent Axel to try and convince him to come, and it worked. And so now we're flashing forward to the future. He's in his organization uniform.
Yep.
The day we met, when you got your new name, you and I sat right here just like this and watched the sunset.
And I believe it's going to say like day 200 something, or oh no, I guess not yet. Whatever. The
Day
point that I
255,
was gonna, I guess I'll wait to make my point in a second here. We're gonna be here. Here's the warning, guys. We're gonna be talking over these cutscenes a lot, because since this is just cutscenes, we're not gonna just not talk the whole time, but we're also not gonna be pausing like madmen the whole time. I'm sure we'll pause occasionally for big things, but like
maybe.
I mean, I don't have any notes for this or whatever. I just mean occasionally if we have something we want to talk about and we don't want to miss something important, we might talk. We might pause, I mean. Okay. But I'm not too worried about it. A lot of this is going to be stuff that you've seen before. So some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is going to be more for the purposes of helping the audience understand what's happening, more so for you.
255.
Yeah, 255. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's been that many days since I first joined the organization. Man, time flies. So, you got the number memorized, do you? Yeah. Have to hang on to something, right? It's not like I have memories from before the organization. Don't you remember? I acted like a zombie. Right. That first week, you could barely form a sentence. But come on, you're still kind of a zombie. Oh, thanks. Hey, Roxas. Bet you don't know why the sun sets red. You see, light is made up of lots of colors. And out of all those colors, red is the one.
You know, Axel's voice actor is very unique. Like, I can't really place it, but it's like the way he says certain things is like slightly off the norm.
Yeah, and he doesn't, honestly, I don't think Quentin Flynn gets enough work. Like, the only major voice acting roles that, I mean, he's done other stuff, obviously, but the two major ones that I know, that I'm familiar with, are Axel and he does Raiden in Metal Gear. And that's, like, those are two relatively big roles from relatively big franchises.
So it's weird. I don't know. Like, he's good at his job.
And I guess I should say, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to be releasing this. It's probably going to be coming out, kind of interrupting the Birth by Sleep playthrough. For anybody who's coming upon this afterwards, let's keep the Birth by Sleep spoilers out of this comments section just to be safe, because if somebody is watching all this stuff in the future, they will want to watch this before they watch Birth by Sleep, even though we're releasing them in an asinine order.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're not doing it any more asinine than Square Enix is right now.
You know what? That's a fair point. But in that same vein, we won't, even though we have finished filming Birth by Sleep at this point, we will not be talking about that game at all. So that if anybody is watching this after, just like watching our Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough, they can move on to watch this. And no, even though we've already filmed Birth by Sleep, we won't be talking about it at all. Just production schedules haven't worked out the way we wanted them to. Look at those JPEGs.
Don't look too hard, though.
That is an interesting thing where they kind of made that establishing shot just for the beginning of the game, not using the 3D asset. That's not true. They used that background for a couple of other things in the game.
I am pleased to announce that a new comrade has been chosen.
Every time it cuts to like a room where it's just mainly white, man, I hate it, because we usually film where it's pretty dark.
In a dark room.
It's like the scene before it was dark, so it's like, okay, and then this.
I guess I should mention this because we didn't. We're in. If we sound different, it's because we're in a new recording space entirely. We're in a completely new space, so.
If there's some catastrophic failure of the equipment that we weren't unaware of until the end, that's why.
Yeah, please be advised, the quality of the sound is probably going to be not so great because we haven't really done anything in this space before, and it hasn't been treated yet. There's a lot of echo in here. I've done the best that I can with limited time and resources, but I just barely have moved into this new place, so... This and the Coded movie, when we film that, are probably going to sound like this. Hopefully by the time we get around to filming Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, it'll sound a lot better.
Name Roxas. And the number 13 were all I had. Who the people around me were. What they wanted.
Or what so are the seats, is it like... If you have like the big boys, like the very tall seat, you're number one. Does it go down in order?
Yeah, so like, it's supposed to represent.
You have the high chair.
It's supposed to represent your favor within the organization. Oh. You haven't played any of it obviously, but in the multiplayer ranking stuff on 358, if there are multiple people competing, whoever has the highest score, it shows them all in the chairs, and their chairs go up, and the lower scores go down.
Okay.
It's supposed to be your level of success and importance to the group.
Worried about the new kid? What was that name again?
Number 14, Xion.
Right, I knew that.
I could be wrong about this, but I felt like in the cutscenes in the DS version, there obviously weren't many of them that were voiced. But whenever they said Xion, they said Xion. And now in this game, they always say Xion. And
well, maybe my volume is down. I don't think there was ever a point where I actually heard Xion out loud. That's why I thought it was Xion until I came over here and you're like, no, it's Xion.
Well, listen, just for the record, I'm going to call her Xion because I really don't like Xion. Sorry, I know it's a really minor difference, but I don't care. I was calling her Xion for like 10 years before, not 10 years.
Wait, what? What's happening right now?
Well, Joey, they couldn't be bothered to make all of the cutscenes, you fool.
You're joking.
Roxas completed his first mission. Axel took him. I missed it. Whatever. And so this now we've already like missed important stuff, right? Like in terms of characterization, because you remember like this is a chest, Roxas. What do I do with it? Open it? Yes, Roxas. That is generally what we do with them.
Yeah.
Like you miss tons of goofy stuff because they just cut around so much in this game, in this movie. I mean.
Oh wow, there's a bite taken out. I'm eating my own words already, man.
Boom! There it goes.
But sweet.
Man, what a fool I am.
Roxas.
Eating
you
your
said the
words
same
over
exact
here.
thing the other day.
I did? I don't remember.
So what has it been?
Yeah, and it really kind of
Since you
passed
joined the
over the whole
organization?
him not saying anything at all.
I guess it has.
I mean, the original game kind of skips over that too, but when you don't have the tutorial of him just being like, huh? What? To everything Axel says, it doesn't feel quite as strong. It creates a really distinct impression of who he is at the beginning of the game.
You might even say that today is where it all really begins for you.
Where it all begins.
I forget how much, if any, of the lip sync they redid for this. I don't think it was
As
much.
a member of the organization,
That's fine. That doesn't really
I'll be
bother me
receiving
anymore.
missions every day.
Well, it bothers me more
still
because,
not
like,
exactly sure
it
what
limits
I'm
the
supposed to
ability of the actors when they're trying to match the Japanese lip flaps. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess if you're trying to match, at that point I would say don't even try to match because
Well, I guess the point is that it's already like with Chain of Memories, with all the pre-rendered cutscenes. I really feel like it just neutered the quality of that game's script because they were trying to keep up with exactly how they were talking.
right.
And so this is an example of, again, we're skipping over stuff, right? Like the first several missions that you go on are with the cast members of Chain of Memories.
Yep.
You go on little missions with them. You talk about stuff. Marluxia talks about, oh, hey, that Keyblade you got there is interesting, right? Mm-hmm. It's like here we're only getting it in terms of like the exposition that is relevant to us, right? Like, oh, he explained what Roxas needs to know, but you're missing the little moment of, oh.
Yeah, but they're trying. I mean, they're trying to condense an entire game and dialogue down
Sure, of course.
into something so that because they realize it's like, oh man, well this stuff is relevant, but people aren't going to play it, so we got to try to meet in the middle.
Naturally, of course. But again, this is just the issue of why I wanted you to play it and why I was hoping people would watch a full playthrough of it if they were watching our stuff, because you just miss a lot.
Well, yeah.
And we're obviously going to damage it a bit by talking over it, but it's like, look, if you don't want us to talk over it, just go. The cutscenes are also available on their own online. So this is why I didn't want to do this, because it's a lose-lose situation.
But here we are doing it anyway for God knows why.
I felt like it.
I forgot this entire time I was gonna be like, so why are we doing this? I completely forgot to ask because I was like, wait, I thought we weren't.
It was mostly
thought
because
you
it
were
was mostly
against
because you
this.
haven't had time to play the game. So it's
Yeah.
like you could have watched it on your own, but whatever. Anyway, yeah. So people in the organization don't have hearts.
And I'll
Everybody
probably
watching
still
this
end up
knows
at
this.
least going through and watching the cutscenes.
And a lot of this exposition is also here for like, if you've played Kingdom Hearts 2, you know it. A lot of it is very much like, if you accidentally pick this game up on your DS and haven't played the other ones, here's what you need to know about the plot.
Keyblade.
Indeed.
Back when there was only one Keyblade.
Larxene, who accompanied Roxas on his mission, seemed displeased with him for being a Keyblade wielder. I think she was just displeased in general with having to watch after somebody
Yeah,
else.
it didn't have much to do with the Keyblade.
Instructed Roxas on how to fight without using the Keyblade. By training without the Keyblade, Roxas once again realized its efficiency, but the question of why he alone can wield it deepens. Again, just like we're recontextualizing a lot of these scenes to have very limited, like,
His hearts.
scope and involvement with the story.
Why am I the only one who can wield such a thing? I'm learning all these things, but there's so much more that I don't get.
Something about his delivery during those just black screens of narration just fills me with the feeling of Metal Gear Solid 5, of just the audio tapes. While carrying out a reconnaissance mission together, Vexen informed Roxas that there are other worlds, and one must be aware of each world's own unique rules and features.
And then he commands you to go out and do some garbage in those worlds.
Wow, that was great. I'm glad we included that.
To and from the same places every day. Sometimes we go to other places on real.
Yeah, I think I didn't express it on camera, but I expressed to you those missions where it's like go and explore this world and bring back the details to me or whatever.
Yeah, we talked about that during the BBS playthrough a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And it's what I feel is the worst thing about those reconnaissance missions is that the information you're getting usually isn't super valuable.
No.
Like, I mean, you think to yourself, okay, Twilight Town, let's find out about this place. You know, let's get some exposition. What's the is it always twilight here? Does the sun set, or is it just like not rise very far?
This is the marketplace. This is where people go.
This town is clearly built on a mountain.
Yeah.
And this is also a moment that you lose, which is, so this is supposed to be teaching Roxas about limit breaks, which is basically moves that you can do when you're at low health. And the way that it's demonstrated in-game is Lexaeus punches Roxas in the face so hard that he blacks out and goes into critical health. Mm-hmm. And it's a funny little moment that doesn't exist anymore.
There are nice guys.
I didn't get to play around with that a lot.
In the organization.
Just because I really just wasn't getting. I didn't get to any of the difficult stuff, so I wasn't really getting hit or anything.
There's lots I don't know, but I do know I have to keep fighting the darkness, so I can be whole.
And this is thematic stuff that kind of runs throughout the entire game. Is Roxas is like, you know, especially since he doesn't have memories of being a human. His question of why is a heart even important? Why is this a thing that I should, like, desire to have?
Yeah.
Because he has no point of reference.
Yeah, so he doesn't have much of a purpose other than just chilling with these guys right
Just
now.
some kids who live here.
So does everybody act that way?
What do you mean?
Like running around chasing each other, making all that noise.
Well, yeah. If they have hearts, I suppose that's what they do.
Hearts.
Come on, let's get some ice cream.
Why?
Why? Well, because we're friends.
Friends.
Friends eat ice cream together and talk and laugh about the stupidest things. Like those kids we just saw. Come on, let's go.
Where do they get the money for this sort of thing?
I don't know. I guess they get paid by the organization and organization fund bucks.
Where does the organization get the money?
They print it themselves. The police can't find them on the world that never was.
We've never really talked about the concept of all these worlds having one universal currency.
Yeah, it's always been funny to me, but it's I don't know. I enjoyed that in Kingdom Hearts 1 they call it out and it's like wherever you go, money talks, and it's like, but wait, what? Like they don't really, like Alex, they don't call it out. They do explicitly have a character say, oh no, yeah, it's good everywhere, but nobody really questions it. Which I guess kind of just plays into the kind of the fairy tale-ish feeling of the first game. Which,
yeah, I mean, it's not a complaint. It's a video game.
It's even more, honestly, one thing that's weird about the first game is even compared to the other games which have way more like esoteric lore details and stuff, the first game often feels way more mysterious just because of its presentation. Mm-hmm. Everything from like its level design and lighting and like overall layout of the game to the way that the details of the world are discussed makes it feel a lot bigger than the explicit detail that some of the other games go into. And this is this is an example of why this movie isn't so great in my personal opinion. It's because it throws you in really hard, right? Like there's no real time to establish this, and if you're not already familiar with the material in the movie, it's just like, oh, he's in the organization, and these are the people who are here, right? And we're already to him leaving for Castle Oblivion, which is like a couple of hours in game.
A second castle.
Yeah, when we get to the point where I left off, I'll probably remember.
Oblivion. Got it memorized?
I'll let you know when we get there.
Told me these things.
But yeah, it's skipping through this pretty
Well,
fast.
I gotta head back and get ready. Nothing but fun, fun, fun.
The greatest mystery of all of Kingdom Hearts, the winner stick.
What will it get you?
Did you never get far enough to find out what the winner stick does?
Doesn't it get you another ice cream?
Yeah, that's what it does.
All right, I guess I made it that far then, or I'm really good at guessing.
I have a message from Lord Zemnis.
Why do anime characters do this?
It's very dramatic. Also, you don't have to animate their lips moving if they're standing in profile.
But they did for him though, because he's turning back now.
Well, I mean, they don't. But it's in here they'll do it, but they've just learned the stylistic, like the way that it's shot, right? Even though it was shot for specific economical reasons that don't affect them, it's just the way of doing it.
Great.
Hey, Axel?
Axel's gone. And here's the lounge you spend so much time in.
Where's the shop Moogle?
I don't think he's in this movie.
But he's got an
The
organization
Moogle who wears the
outfit.
organization outfit, I don't think he's in the movie at all. I don't think he comes up.
That's a real shame.
Oh yeah, I agree. Roxas received orders to carry out a mission with Xion. Xion, hidden and hiding any facial expression, spoke not a
That's
word.
an absolute
throughout
lie.
The,
The only thing we've been shown is her facial expressions. That's a blatant lie.
Well, is it like, maybe it's like Ko the Face Stealer at the end of season 1 of Avatar, where it's like if you just keep your face blank, that's still considered to be expressionless. If you show no emotion, if it's just completely neutral.
But she was smiling earlier at
Whatever, who
him.
cares?
Without the loudmouths.
Whatever. It's not a big deal.
You're a loudmouth, Demnix.
Those bossy co-workers sent to Castle Oblivion.
Well, I
My
suppose it's too
Tomodachi's
bad
there.
you and Poppet didn't get to spend a little more quality time with him.
Poppet?
I'm talking about Xion, kiddo.
Kiddo?
Roxas, get to work.
Keep killing Heartless so you'll get Heartless fun bucks that you can spend at the Moogle shop.
Indeed, indeed.
I've got someplace to be again today, so go on ahead without me.
Roxas.
Huh? Xion?
Roxas is your name.
That is accurate, yes.
Yes.
Adios.
Oh, that's a bright cut. I love it.
Why wouldn't it be? These games are not good when it comes to cuts, honestly. Like, it's just... I mean, a lot of games just have a problem with it because you can't just, like, cut like you do in film. You have to load in new
Oh, hey,
environments a
look,
lot
it's
of the
that
time.
cutscene that they showed us 5 minutes ago.
Well, it wasn't 5 minutes ago if you were playing the game. You dingus. There, he did it!
He did it.
He did it! It was a close-up!
I'll take it.
You fraud! You
Man,
complaining about these
I'm
games
so
for no
sorry.
reason.
I'm sorry, this movie's completely validated by that.
I forget if anybody ever takes a bite on
Roxas.
screen in the DS game. I'm sure that you definitely see bites, but I'm not sure if you ever see someone take a bite.
Best of luck today.
Yeah. Let's go.
I like it's a little subtle touch on her design that I think a lot of people don't even notice like why it is the way that it is, but it just kind of makes her look a little bit different. Is she always tucks the hair on the right side of her head behind her ear, right? Like it's not actually shorter; she just kind of tucks it behind, which gives it kind of a different angle, kind of sticks out slightly differently.
Wow. Xion, I didn't know you could use the Keyblade.
You know? Neither did I.
And see, this is again the problem with the movie is like by the time that this scene happens, you've spent like an hour with this character.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, when playing the game, it's like there's a lot of... It's basically you're Axel
This
with
is such a
Roxas
great
now.
spot.
Like, it's
Yeah.
the same type of thing where it's like
How'd
you
you
have...
find it?
You're trying to get some emotion out of them, and she's just like, eh.
You spend quite a bit of time with her being uncooperative before this
Sea salt ice
happens.
cream. Come on, try
Not
it.
in terms of like in-game days, but just in terms of time spent playing the game. Enough for this to feel earned as opposed to
Look
just
at
a thing
that.
that happened.
That was good. That was a...
It's salty.
It's good,
Man.
right?
Yeah, it is good.
Axel and I, we meet here.
But yeah,
for
you're
ice
right. Like
cream
it is a
after
kind of situation where Roxas kind of starts doing what Axel was doing for the first couple of missions with
work. Flavor
Xion.
is Axel's favorite.
Sounds like it's yours, too.
Yeah. Axel brought me.
I feel like
here
I've
to get
heard
ice
her
cream on
voice
my
actress
first
before.
day.
Well, you have a couple of different things. Alison Stoner plays, among other things, even though she uses a much higher pitched voice there, she plays Isabel in Phineas and Ferb. She's been in some other stuff you've
Guys
probably
must be
seen.
really
Okay.
close.
Well, Axel and I are friends.
Friends. Do you think that I could be a friend?
When Axel gets back, we'll all have ice cream together.
But you didn't answer the question.
This is so he kind of did, and I don't want to skip ahead too far here, but there's a major thematic thing going on in this game. Not really a thematic thing, and symbolism thing. Roxas has a limited understanding of what it means to be friends with somebody, right? Because he has no life experience. He very harshly associates being friends with someone with eating ice cream, because this is like what his little lizard brain can rationalize it as, right? They're all dead. Everybody's dead now.
Everyone's dead. Your Tomodachi is no longer. I was gonna ask if there's anything like combat-wise, but yeah, there's this.
That's about it.
The big one.
So this is a thing that that I didn't mention earlier, is that one of the big complaints for this movie was that there are no fight scenes.
Yeah, I figured.
And like so it'd be like, you know, okay, let's fight now, and then cut, and oh no, I've been defeated.
What's there to leave behind? We're not even supposed to be in the first place.
And the members at Castle Oblivion, where'd they go?
Nothing's left of them.
In which case, I'll never see them again?
That's right.
And so that's an instance where lip flops I feel like probably got in the way. I don't feel like he would say, in which case I'll never see them again. I'd be like, so you mean they're gone? So you mean I'd never see them again? In which case sounds too formal for this character and for that question. But trying to match them lip flaps. Tomodachi 2. Strange Woman. Why did we see Naminé there? I don't know. Naminé's in this game for all of 12 seconds, and you can tell she's just there so they could put her in the trailers to make you go, oh, what's going to happen with nothing.
Good.
Who are you?
We're back.
What's left?
This is such a weird thing, this scene. This is something that had to be addressed in interviews. No, this didn't happen. This is just a dream that Roxas had.
Okay, well then never mind. I won't ask.
It's such a weird thing. Like, remember that Kingdom Hearts 2 opens with this, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember your true name? Right? This is just a dream that Roxas had. This isn't a thing that happened.
Been with us for 6 days.
And now they add on more here. It's been like 20 days. It's a dream he had like 15 days ago, I guess? I don't understand.
Yeah, just keep on zooming in.
Eventually it will be like a movie. Eventually it'll trick someone into thinking that something is happening.
Yeah, I love that.
He said something. You'll have to wait and find out what it was. Aren't you intrigued?
I cannot wait.
At least the Realm of Darkness still looks cool.
It really does. It truly, truly does. And here he is on this bed that does not look comfortable.
Their sofas don't look comfortable either. I wonder if nobodies don't care if they're sitting on concrete.
Provided the hero is stripped of all his memories.
Then I suppose much hinges on Castle Oblivion.
I mean, if everybody's dead, what does it matter?
Xion has gained power over the Keyblade, just as we intended. She can fill Roxas's shoes for the time being.
Yep, and we go.
We cheat with time skips like this a couple of times because I mean 1 year is a lot of time to depict in a game. And this isn't. We're not playing Persona here.
Yeah, the closer we're getting, the more I'm thinking that I made it a lot. Didn't make it near as far as you think I did in this game.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter.
I hope that you can join me.
And this is Xion's theme piping in here.
Okay.
This game has a couple of original pieces of music that weren't in the other games, and 2 of them revolve around Xion, and they're both like some of the best tracks in like the franchise. Unfortunately, you won't really get to hear one of them, but because it's not really. Well, if I recall correctly, I don't think it really shows up in any of these cutscenes. I could be wrong though. Look at all those little seashells she brought for him. How cute. I have met several people who own Nintendo DSs,
Okay.
I hadn't played other games in the Kingdom Hearts series. Oh, my friends have told me about this Kingdom Hearts thing for years. I'm gonna get the one that I can play. What is this game?
Yeah.
What are all these weird people talking about?
I knew
What's
that
going
I'd
on?
be snoozing down
Who is
here.
this person we just cut away to right there? What is all of this? It's very confusing to a member of the audience who is uninitiated, I would imagine.
Probably.
Now, on one hand, I have seen other people who played this game first, and it, like, grabbed them immediately. Because look at it from the perspective of somebody who hasn't played one of the other games. Here's this cast of 13 people. Oh, half of them are dead immediately. And there's all kinds of weird political ladder climbing Game of Thrones stuff happening. Like, you think you're being set up for all these guys to be dead by the end of the game in some kind of weird, you know, like I just say, kind of Game of Thrones style story.
I mean, right now your boy wakes up and it's empty. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
It's a
Roxas?
I feel like playing this game first in some ways would be confusing and infuriating, and in other ways it would be so intriguing because you would assume that, like, oh wow, they just killed off half their cast, and you wouldn't realize it was like a necessity of the timeline.
There was no telling when you might wake up. But I'm glad you did.
Some good fabric tech on her cloak there.
Yeah.
She kind of pulled over that, and it just kind of folded and flopped around as
Looked good.
necessary. And shebang. Oh no, I thought she was playing. I thought she was about to pull ice cream
I
out
was
of her
about
pocket.
to say, please don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the fabric of their suits are made of. Like, I know it's strong, but it's like I don't.
Darkness resistant leather.
But is it ice cream resistant, or would you pull the ice cream out and there'd be like a bunch of
Depends
little, like,
on the flavor of the ice cream.
You know, she pulls it out and you look and there's just like a bunch of little like specks of black fabric on it. And she's like, here.
It depends on how dark the ice cream is. Sora and Kairi in their romantic scene, the scene that I maintain is one of the best cutscenes in the entire franchise. The whereabouts of the members who were sent to Castle Oblivion.
I didn't make it to the next world.
Still unknown.
So I only made it to this.
Oh, you didn't make it past Agrabah?
No.
Okay. Well.
So we're about there.
Okay, well, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Don't look too hard at the buildings.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's fine. So on the subject of this Castle Oblivion guys being axed, the thing I was trying to say at the beginning of the game that I didn't really get to about, like, you know, what's weird about this game conceptually is you have Chain of Memories in Kingdom Hearts 2, which introduce all of these weird new OCs, right? Mm-hmm. Now, in Chain of Memories, I would say that Axel and Larxene and Marluxia get a decent amount of screen time to the point where you feel like you kind of know those people by the end, right?
Yeah.
Vexen, you don't really, I guess you kind of get a little bit of him. Lexias is like, barely has any dialogue.
Here's a time skip.
Lexias barely even has any dialogue, and then you get a little bit of time with Zexion, the one with the book.
Yeah. Hey,
but the point is that, like, you kind of get to know most of those guys, but not all of them. Then in Kingdom Hearts 2, the only characters you get to spend anything even vaguely resembling like real time with are Axel, Roxas, and like Xemnas. You get a couple of scenes with Braig, with Eye Patch Man. They kind of make him out as more interesting than the rest of them because there's like something kind of to him there, maybe.
Had me worried.
But everybody else remains kind of undetailed, and I'll get back to that in a second, I guess.
Don't have the
I'll shut up.
to worry, you know?
I mean, it's just going to happen. We're going to be talking over some of these cutscenes, folks. Sorry.
No.
There he goes. Off he goes. This is also a new track for this game, which is called At Dusk I Will Think of You. And it's just the track that plays every time they're hanging out eating ice cream.
He's gonna let me have it.
You haven't reported back yet?
No.
Why'd you come here?
I guess I just needed a little time to sort out my feelings, you know?
But we nobodies don't have feelings. We don't have hearts, yada yada. Yeah. Keep contradicting yourself.
Hey, your ice cream's melting. Eat up.
I guess you could argue that emotions are different from feelings about whether or not you want to work for somebody.
You know,
I suppose, but he didn't specify.
It's a hostile workspace.
He didn't specify if he meant emotion feelings or like what you were talking about.
Sure. Well, I want to repeat again what I've said previously about the nature of nobodies that makes sense to me. With regards to, we establish in Chain of Memories how powerful memories are, that
yeah,
like just data of Riku is good enough to basically make a clone of him. That like seems like is totally functional and is a human being and seems to feel things, but complains that he feels hollow, that he feels like his existence is borrowed and incomplete. So it would make sense to me that they established in Kingdom Hearts 2 pretty early on that nobody still remember their past lives. So it's like, oh, okay, they don't necessarily like feel new things, but they can pull from like their memories,
Okay,
kind of
but
like an
Roxas
existing.
doesn't remember.
Precisely. Which would explain why he behaves so weird.
But it's like, I guess he's adapting though.
We will. This is something. This is one of the big. That's one of the big mysteries of this game.
Did you find
that we will as it goes on. We'll come up more with that.
I would have told you that much.
The
Gotta hand
that
it to
chamber.
you. About Marluxia being one of the traitors, you knew exactly what was up from the start.
I merely rounded up and sent off the ones who were getting in the way.
Whoa there. Was I one of those you wanted to erase?
Good to see you made it back safe.
I disposed of Xion, by the way. I moved things along just the way you wanted. At least for now.
And so this is again where we start getting into kind of the Game of Thrones-y stuff of this game, or at least what you think it's going to be, but we'll see more of that as the game goes on. Syax wanted to get other members of the organization out of the way. Why is that?
You really think so? I was thinking the same about you.
Yeah, well...
I missed it, but where's Xion in all this?
She's just off doing other missions.
Okay.
Huh?
They don't have cell phones, so they can't say, hey, come hang out with us. They just gotta hope that she turns up, I guess.
No.
Couldn't you just open like a tiny dark portal next to their ear?
I don't know, like whatever.
Having ice cream.
Maybe you gotta know where they are to be able to open the portal to them. Like you can't just open it by person, you gotta open it by location.
Just give them a popsicle stick you really care about, and then you'll always know.
I wonder if Xion's gonna show today.
So the point that I was gonna get to is that like when this game was announced, I think people looked at it and went, because you got to remember, like, okay, fan fiction culture and people having, loving these games or whatever, right? Between 2005 and 6 when 2 came out, and this game coming out in 2009, I can't tell you how much fan fiction existed of all these characters, these organization guys, right? They're cool anime boys and girls. But as I just said, most of the characters who are in KH2 are really nothing. They're really two-dimensional. And even some of the Chain of Memories folks, we just don't know as much about as we would really like to, probably, right? They don't really feel fleshed out. Oh no. So, one thing that I think everybody was kind of expecting this game to do was, okay, hey, we'll finally get, we'll find out some backstory on these characters. We'll find out more about what their personalities are, what their deals are, kind of where they come from.
That's exactly what you pointed out earlier. We got to beat this guy. Runs at him.
Yeah.
And now he's dead.
But I guess that's not a terribly important fight. It's just a random Heartless. But the thing that I think took people by surprise and that frustrated some people about this game is that
I'm fine.
Not me so much because I really didn't care that much about any of those cardboard cutout organization members. But I know some people were annoyed by this, and I do get it.
Whoa.
Okay,
No, why was?
Yeah, that was intentional. That wasn't an error. That was intentional.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'll let the scene play out.
Okay.
Because you'll kind of need to pay attention to that.
Eat up. It's gonna melt.
Yeah.
So I guess if that's new to you, you hadn't gotten this far because you would have noticed it in DS.
You'd wolf it down.
Did something happen?
We're here for you if you want to get it off your chest. Right, Roxas?
He's right. That's what friends are for.
I can't use the Keyblade anymore. And without the Keyblade, I can't do my job.
What exactly happened?
And this is another instance of, again, not having enough time. We're thinking about, like, in terms of our interaction with Xion in this game so far, we've had one scene of her, oh, I've got one, I can use it, cool. And then it's like, next time we see her, oh, I can't do it anymore.
Instead, I swat them them in one place, and they just pop up in another.
You hang out with her for enough time to feel like you're kind of getting to know her and she's a regular part of the game, and then she just kind of poofs, vanishes for a pretty long period of time where you really do feel her absence from the writing and the story, and then she comes back and this is the issue where she's concerned that she's not useful to the organization.
There was, but it's just like she said. Without the Keyblade, she can't collect hearts.
This is something they obviously said earlier, and we've discussed in Kingdom Hearts 2, the reason why Roxas was so critically important to their plan was because if Sora's not around, and they can't control him, then they need somebody who has a Keyblade. And so we're just finding out there's another person who had one. They could double their numbers.
I told you, there's nothing we can... Hold on.
Did you think of something?
Roxas, you can work double duty.
Huh?
What do you mean?
Xion, make sure your missions are with Roxas until you can use the Keyblade again. That way, he can collect the hearts and no one will know that you can't use the Keyblade.
That's it.
It's easy. I just have to work twice as hard, but it's worth it for friendship.
You have to collect twice as many hearts.
Yeah, I can do it.
Would you?
Of course I would.
But...
Friends need to lean on each other every now and then. Ain't that right, Roxas?
we're friends. Axel, does that mean you and I are friends, too?
Well, if you're friends with Roxas, then yeah, of course you're my friend.
Thank you, Roxas, Axel.
Just eat your ice cream.
I'll finally wrap up this point that I'm trying to make here, but I think people can probably extrapolate what I was trying to say, which is basically just like you wind up spending number one, all of the Organization 13 guys that would go to Castle Oblivion are gone after the first couple hours of the game and won't be back, obviously. And then the guys who are left, Demnix, Zigbar, Zaldin, you don't get to spend any time with Syax, really. Yeah. And Luxord. Like, you go on these missions with these characters, but they're all exactly what they were in KH2. They're the same cardboard cutouts who care about the same things they cared about previously. You go to Beast's Castle with Zaldin, and his whole deal is, this Beast guy is interesting. I'm going to study this Beast person, and maybe I can make him into a Heartless. You go to Wonderland with Luxord, and he's like, gambling. So let's not do our mission just yet, Roxas. Let's look into this. This is interesting. Let's just have some fun or whatever.
Yeah.
I think people were really hoping for these characters that they'd latched onto to wind up being extremely fleshed out, and as it turned out, instead this game was devoted to fleshing out the two characters who were already the most fleshed out, and a brand new character.
I couldn't tell you because
some people love these three characters that we're looking at right now so damn much that it doesn't matter. But I do know a lot of people were disappointed, especially because it's like there were these other characters I already wanted to know about, and who is this Xion person that you've introduced out of nowhere?
Right.
I get that I understand why some people are frustrated with this game and some of its creative decisions, I guess is my point.
Okay, so is this just a month of going around doing double duty?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But once again, it means lots of little cutscenes with your friends.
Yeah,
this is why I don't love this movie so much, because you're really missing a lot of the experience, and you don't really get to know these characters as well as would be preferable.
Why are some of the hearts different colored?
Darkeners. Over there where it's dark, those are really dark hearts, and over there where it's white, those are extremely light hearts, and everything in the middle is just kind of normal.
Do they just want to make it look like the moon?
Sure.
I'm genuinely asking. It's like,
I don't know. Well, you got to remember that basically the only reason that exists is because on the cover art of the first game, they just drew a big heart-shaped moon to have this big mysterious light source that was hitting the art of the characters on the cover. And then in the second game, as the screenwriter was working on it, he just called for there to be a moon. And then Tetsuya Nomura read the script and was like, oh, you put a moon in here? Well, we got a moon. Let's just put the moon in. Because, Nomura basically gives like an outline to screenwriters, and then they kind of put the rest of it together. So he didn't call for a moon. The screenwriter put one in. And then he decided, we had a moon on the cover art for the last game. Let's just make it that moon. Which I think just confused everybody way more than it was worth, but whatever.
All this fighting. I wonder what it's for.
What am I fighting for?
Come on.
That's the tagline of this game. What am I fighting for?
Complete the great Kingdom Hearts. You saw it too, didn't you?
But what is Kingdom Hearts?
It's the gathering place of hearts, isn't it?
It's where all the hearts wind up after they're released by you. When we gather enough, we might finally get hearts of our own.
Hearts shall be made our own.
I could be wrong, but while Jesse McCartney's reads for this movie are still really freaking fantastic for the most part, I feel like, granted, there weren't a ton of cutscenes in Days that were voiced, but I feel like oftentimes the reads for Xion are a lot more muted and quiet than they were in the original version. I don't know, because I haven't really gone back and compared scenes head to head, but I feel like I never got the impression of her being this mumbly in the DS game. But I don't know. It's also just you're reading a lot more text than you are listening to voiceover. And a lot of the audio you are hearing is, battle grunts, and those are relatively loud and impassioned, so it can create a false impression. Roxas and Xion went to the usual spot. Not the Hainer, Pence, and Olette one, but the tower one.
Yep.
They had begun to get used to going on missions together. And then back here again. And this is the same thing I've talked about where, I've talked about previously about why watching this as a movie is weird. Because so much of the content that they deem to be important is just back to back to back.
Yeah.
Sitting on the tower, listening to the music, talking.
We don't all have hearts. Doesn't mean that we're all exactly the same. We each have memories of our pasts.
Memories?
You remember your past?
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes each member of the organization special. We remember who we were as humans.
But I don't.
Me neither.
Well, maybe that right there is what makes you guys the most unique in the organization.
What were you like before you were a
I really
nobody?
wish you just said something like sucks to suck, nerds.
Me? Oh, I don't know. I think I've always been pretty much the same.
I wish I could remember stuff like that.
Really?
And see, there's another opportunity of what the things people wanted. Hey, Axel, what were you like before you were a nobody? Whatever.
What about you?
Doesn't matter.
Born a nobody.
All you did was stare into space.
Oh, thanks.
See, I feel like they wouldn't linger on that point over and over again if it wasn't irregular for Roxas to behave that way.
Yeah.
A lot in common.
I wonder what kind of guy I was before.
I guess the organization just doesn't know that Sora's there. Because they're hanging out on Twilight Town all the time. There's nothing really stopping them from just going in there.
No.
And this is also one of the best scenes in the game that now doesn't exist. So during one of these missions, not one of the best scenes in the game, but a scene that fans really like. I guess it's more than the people like it. It's just kind of a meme that came from this. During some of the missions, Roxas decides, okay, you know what? This is hopefully to help you get better. I'm gonna let you use my Keyblade today. And basically, so Roxas has basically just has to rely on magic for a couple of missions, or a mission. And she's like, well, what are you gonna use, Roxas? And he goes, I'll just use this. And he picks up a twig. And Xion just goes, Roxas, that's a stick. He's like, nah, it's fine. But just for whatever reason, Roxas, that's a stick, really caught on with a lot of fans. But again, just cute little interactions that don't exist in the movie. Which is why you should watch the full game if you can, audience members. My previous recommendation was to watch Nico B's playthrough of the game, because it's pretty good. It's a mixture of both. He edits in all of these cutscenes where possible, but still plays the full game, essentially.
Let's go.
Though obviously Everglow is also a good resource for playthroughs of any and all Kingdom Hearts games. So
Okay, and so she got it back.
yeah, she gets it back there. After working for a little while, she gets her mojo back, and now she has her Keyblade back. Once again, it lacks a lot of ceremony when it's all edited like this, you know.
How was your mission?
You know, I sure wish the Heartless would hold still once in a while. I fell right on my butt chasing them around.
I thought you said you were tough.
Yeah,
This is also the really weird thing about the organization is that everybody other than Roxas is a really glorified support unit. You know what I mean? Or Roxas
Yeah.
and Xion, I guess. Like, if you don't have the Keyblade, what can you do? Their whole mission is to get hearts. So, like, I guess there's the whole thing of, okay, so Zaldin is trying to turn Beast into a Heartless. But even then, like, Roxas, I mean, I guess it could generate a nobody or whatever, but, like,
Made it possible for the two of us to go on
Zaldin,
mission
I guess,
together.
spends, like, the better part of half a year trying to do that and failing. And that's just one guy was doing that.
So thanks.
The implication is that everybody else who's left over is basically just doing recon to figure out where Heartless are, and then Roxas goes and kills them.
Because they can't really do much else.
Yeah, and again, these are the types of things that people were like, okay, so what do other people in the organization do? They look for Heartless for Roxas to kill.
They go to work their day job so that they can get money to fund the organization.
Organization 13 is a sniper spotter team with 13 snipers. I mean, so 13 spotters and one sniper.
I just want these days to last forever. Hanging out, the ice cream, the sunsets.
Well, nothing lasts forever, you know. Least of all for a bunch of nobodies like us. But it's okay if things change and we can't meet up here.
Huh?
As long as we keep each other in our thoughts, none of us will ever have to be apart. Got it memorized?
He said the line.
He did, yeah.
It took him a while.
That was so not you.
I think he said it once earlier on.
He said something about memorized, but he didn't do it like that.
He didn't do the head tap with the straight up, just got it memorized as a single sentence. And this is, again, the pacing of this game, the feeling of just doing little missions, hanging out. Like, again, I've referred to it previously as the whole game kind of feels like this experience of just all these characters are working their crappy day job and then knocking back beers after work together. When it's just the knocking back beers and talking about inane nonsense, it feels a lot sloppier. Which is why I maintain this is not really a super good movie, even though it's a fine game. I also
if it's
just
there
noticed,
to just get you caught up, then
it's true.
Then it's doing its purpose. It's just not in the.
I also just noticed that when he was
Yes,
shooting all those little ice cubes, I'm pretty sure he was standing in a room that is exclusive to the DS version of the game. Like, because like there's a couple of rooms for each world that are only in days. Like, it wasn't just recycled assets.
Okay.
What's it
How
called?
should I know? I'm not spying.
Cave of Wonders is different in 358 as compared to the other games. I'm pretty sure I noticed one of those rooms in the background.
So what? Now I've got a rat on my friends to you? I think you should just go.
Today, you and Xion will be going on the same mission.
Well, thank you, sir, for personally delivering that message to me.
We also need you to go back to Castle Oblivion soon.
Says Lord Zemnis?
That castle hasn't given up all its secrets. One, even he doesn't know of its whereabouts.
Even he doesn't know. You mean the chamber, right? We turned that place inside out. If it's there, we're not gonna find it just by looking.
Then let me give you another reason. Xion comes from the castle to which Namine can be traced.
Okay. And this
Place
is
where
significant
both
to me
Namine
because
and Xion were born. It's practically calling out for you.
Whatever. As far as the castle goes, you're the one who really wants to go there. By finding the room that Zemnis is searching for, you would find out everything about Zemnis's true agenda, am I right?
The Chamber of Repose as well as the Chamber of Waking. Zemnis has an agenda that he hasn't told to anybody. And we are bound to find some clues in the Chamber of Waking. And once we obtain those clues, we'll have the upper hand for our own objectives.
I knew the time would come when Vexen and Zexion got in your way. That's why I took the initiative and cleared the way to the top for you. I can handle all the dirty work. You go all the way to the top.
You will be going on a solo mission to Castle Oblivion. Expect the orders soon.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much here, but this is where a lot of this game is super intriguing when you like boot it up, I guess. And once again, where I was talking about, oh, I want to find out about these things, and you don't, right? So like in this scene, we have, oh, we got to figure out what the Chamber of Waking and Chamber of Repose are, right? You don't find that out in this game. Yeah. Not to spoil anything for any, I don't want to spoil anything too intensively here, but like you don't find out what they are really.
That's a not spoiler.
We gotta figure out what Xemnas' agenda is. We don't find out what his true agenda is. And then the main thing that really frustrates me about all of that, because whatever, those are things they cannot find out about them. Axel and that other guy there, Syax, are like, we have to accomplish our own agenda, right? We never find out what their agenda is. The only clearly stated thing is that Syax wants to move up the ladder, but presumably that's not the goal.
Roxas
that's part of the plan, right? That's like, we want to get better positioning so we have more leverage over Xemnas or whatever for whatever we want to do, but we never really find out what it is, at least not in this game.
You know what, Axel? When I sit here and talk with you guys, I get the strangest feeling that a long time ago I used to watch the sunset with somebody else. It's the same when I watch the sea. Someplace by the sea where I hear the sound of the waves.
These are the kinds of mysteries that I enjoy a lot more.
That I was
You know what I mean?
talking with
Because it pulls in this, it's a bit more emotional and it's more related to the characters as opposed to the logistics of what Axel and Syax are up to. When it's as mysterious as just, we have a goal, I can't feel anything about that. If it was some kind of general, if I had even a vague idea of what they wanted, then I would be more intrigued, but it's so vague as to be essentially meaningless. It's just there to make you wonder, what's going on? We've talked about this in the other games.
This game is.
We've talked about this in the other games, but I hate the way that these games string you along with these things that don't mean anything.
They've ever really done me any good.
Roxas is like me. Neither one of us remembers much. I wonder if he and I had this much in common before we were nobodies.
Do we have a real friendship? Are we real Tomodachi? Or are we just falling in with each other because of circumstances?
That's a good
great.
screenshot.
I'm just gonna... Oh, my remote's off. That's why I wasn't going. Here, hold on. There we go.
That's good.
It's good stuff right there. First day off. Accustomed to having a mission to execute, Roxas aimlessly wandered the castle, unsure of what to do. Even asking Axel and Xion how they spent their time off proved unhelpful, so he eventually went to his usual spot. This is also a moment that is really, like, isn't being sold here properly. Roxas, like, wakes up, and there's, like, a post-it note that says, today is the annual day off. And he's like, what's a day off? And Axel's like, we don't work today. Oh, okay, so what does that mean? I'm gonna sleep, says Axel, and then leaves. And Xion's like, yeah, I'm just kind of wandering around. I don't know what to do either. So Roxas, there's like a moment where he's just talking to himself, and he's like, what do I want to do on my day off?
Axel.
Ice cream.
Slept like a log. Are the kids here on summer vacation already? Nah, can't be. It's much too early.
Summer vacation? What's that?
It's a dream come true, that's what. Where they get a whole month off.
A month off? I wouldn't know what to do with that much time. I can't even figure out how to fill a day.
You'd be surprised. They give you plenty of homework, and of course, you have to play with your friends every day. Trust me, it's over before you can blink.
Is that how it goes? Because I sure as hell didn't.
I could deal with 7 days, maybe.
Most kids spend the time...
Oh, did you get it? 7 days? Just like, remember how he has a 7 days of summer vacation because of the... Do you get it? Do you get it, Joey?
I don't get it.
Because in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's 7 days at the beginning of the game where he's on summer vacation.
I don't get what's Kingdom Hearts 2.
Get